It started with something small, a few restless nights. A little more fatigue in the morning, a snack that used to satisfy no longer quite hit the spot. More cravings creeping in at strange hours, a sense that something was off, but hard to pinpoint. That's how it began for Jason, a 38-year-old project manager juggling work, kids, and a new exercise routine. He wasn't eating badly, he wasn't skipping meals. But his energy was unpredictable, his cravings spiked at odd times, and no matter how healthy he ate, he couldn't lose the belly fat that seemed to appear overnight. After months of frustration, Jason's doctor ordered a few tests. Nothing alarming, no red flags, but one phrase kept coming up: your hormones are out of sync. That's when Jason stumbled on something most of us were never taught. Your hormones control more than you think, and the way you eat determines how they behave. In this episode of Eat in the Right Order, we're diving into the fascinating world of hormonal balance, not with complicated charts or medical jargon, but with simple, actionable insights that help you understand what's going on inside your body and how to bring it back into balance. Let's begin. Your body is a hormonal symphony. Hormones are chemical messengers. They're like tiny signals your body sends to tell itself what to do. When to feel hungry, when to stop eating, when to burn fat, when to store energy, when to wake up, when to rest. But unlike the sharp commands of a conductor, hormones work more like music. They ebb and flow in rhythm, coordinating thousands of processes every second of every day. And just like a symphony, if one instrument is off key or out of sync, the entire performance starts to feel wrong. Jason's cravings weren't just about willpower. They were a hormonal message. His sleep issues, also hormonal. His stubborn belly fat, again hormones. And guess what determines whether that hormonal orchestra plays in harmony or chaos? The food you eat and the order and timing in which you eat it. The hormonal Big Five. There are dozens of hormones involved in metabolism and health, but for this episode, we'll focus on 5 key players. 1. Insulin manages blood sugar, fat storage, and energy distribution. 2. Ghrelin, known as the hunger hormone. It tells you when to eat. 3. Leptin, the satiety hormone. It signals fullness and regulates body weight. 4. Cortisol, your stress hormone, also plays a role in energy and appetite. 5. Melatonin regulates your sleep cycle and influences nighttime metabolism. Each of these works on a daily rhythm. They rise and fall throughout the day. When you eat, sleep, and move in ways that align with this rhythm, your hormones stay balanced. But when you don't, when you skip meals, eat late, or snack constantly, they begin to fall out of sync. And once one hormone is thrown off, others follow. The cascade effect. Let's say you eat a high-carb meal late at night. Insulin spikes at the wrong time when sensitivity is lowest. Blood sugar stays elevated, leading to fat storage. Melatonin gets suppressed, and your sleep is lighter. Poor sleep increases cortisol. Higher cortisol raises ghrelin, making you hungrier the next day. Ghrelin overwhelms leptin, so your fullness signals don't register. You wake up tired, crave sugar, overeat, skip breakfast. And the cycle repeats. It's not just about the food. It's about the sequence. What throws hormones out of sync? Eating out of order. Starting meals with sugar or starch leads to a bigger insulin response than when you begin with fiber and protein. Skipping meals, especially breakfast, which throws off cortisol and insulin. Snacking all day prevents hormones from resetting between meals. Late-night eating disrupts melatonin and digestion. Chronic stress elevates cortisol and suppresses leptin. Poor sleep disrupts every single hormone in the metabolic orchestra. These may sound like small things, but over time, they build into the very symptoms most of us live with daily and assume are normal. They're not. They're messages. Your hormones want rhythm, not rules. The good news: hormones are adaptive. When you begin to create rhythm and structure in your meals, they respond, not with resistance, but with relief. What they need is consistency, eating meals at regular times. Sleeping on a stable schedule, beginning meals with fiber, then fat and protein, then carbs. Allowing space between meals for hormones to reset. Avoiding emotional or mindless eating triggers. This isn't about restriction, it's about flow. Part 2. Insulin, the master switch of metabolism. If there's one hormone that deserves the title of the metabolic maestro, it's insulin. Insulin is the hormone your pancreas releases in response to rising blood glucose levels, usually after you eat. Its job, to help your cells absorb glucose and either use it for energy or store it for later. But insulin isn't just about sugar, it's about balance. It plays a major role in fat storage, muscle growth, hunger regulation, inflammation, and even brain function. When insulin works well, you feel steady, energized, and satiated. When it doesn't, you feel tired, foggy, hungry, and on a blood sugar roller coaster. And here's the truth most people don't realize. It's not just what you eat that affects insulin, it's the order in which you eat it. What happens when insulin spikes? When you eat a meal high in sugar or starch, especially on an empty stomach, your blood glucose rises rapidly. In response, insulin floods your system to bring glucose down. If this happens occasionally, your body handles it fine. But if it happens multiple times a day, especially for years, two things start to occur. Your cells become less responsive to insulin resistance. Your pancreas works harder to produce more insulin to compensate. Over time, this pattern can lead to fat gain, particularly around the belly, fatigue after meals, cravings for more sugar, elevated fasting glucose and insulin, increased risk of metabolic syndrome, type 2 diabetes, and heart disease. Insulin resistance is now one of the most common silent disruptors of health. It often starts with the way we eat, not just what we eat. The power of food order. You've heard us say it before in this series, and here's why it matters so much. Starting your meals with fiber, then fat and protein, and leaving starches and sugars for last significantly reduces the insulin response. This isn't a trend, it's supported by science. A 2015 study from Diabetes Care showed that participants who ate vegetables and protein before carbohydrates had 50% lower glucose spikes than when they reversed the order. Another 2020 study in the Journal of Nutrition found that eating a salad or non-starchy vegetable starter before a meal improved insulin sensitivity and glucose response in people with type 2 diabetes. Even better, these effects are seen within the same day, no long wait times for results. It's one of the simplest, most powerful habits you can build. Change the order, change the impact. Real-life example, Mia's morning transformation. Mia, a 42-year-old graphic designer, had been struggling with energy dips by mid-morning. She started her day with oatmeal and fruit. Healthy, she thought, but always needed a second cup of coffee by 10:30. After learning about insulin and food order, she flipped her breakfast. She started with a few bites of sautéed spinach and boiled eggs, then added a slice of avocado toast, and finished with a few berries. The result? She no longer experienced crashes. She stayed full until lunch. Her mood was more stable, and her sugar cravings in the evening dropped. This wasn't magic, it was insulin management through meal sequencing. Other ways to support insulin naturally, besides food order, other lifestyle changes can enhance insulin sensitivity. Walking after meals, a short 10 to 15 minute walk reduces post-meal blood glucose. Time-restricted eating, keeping meals within a 10 to 12-hour daytime window supports insulin regulation. Prioritizing sleep. Just one night of poor sleep can decrease insulin sensitivity by 20 to 30%. Stress management. Cortisol, your stress hormone, competes with insulin, so mindfulness, breathwork, or journaling can make a measurable difference. Strength training. Muscles are insulin's best friend. They absorb glucose efficiently and reduce the insulin burden. Insulin isn't your enemy, it's a tool. And like any tool, it can serve you beautifully or create damage depending on how you use it. The takeaway, insulin isn't just a blood sugar regulator, it's the hormone that shapes how your body responds to every bite of food. When it's respected, it rewards you with clarity, energy, and metabolic resilience. You don't need to eliminate entire food groups or live in fear of carbs. You simply need to approach meals with sequence and structure. Begin with fiber to slow digestion. Follow with protein and healthy fats to steady blood sugar. Finish with carbs to minimize the insulin surge. This gentle order sends a calming signal to your entire hormonal network. And over time, those signals add up to more balance, less craving, and a body that begins to trust you again. Because sometimes the biggest breakthroughs in health aren't about doing more, but about doing things in the right rhythm. In the next part, we'll turn our attention to the fascinating interplay between ghrelin and leptin, the hormones that govern your hunger and satiety. Get ready to understand why your appetite behaves the way it does and how to support it naturally. Part 3. Ghrelin, leptin, and hunger cues, realigning fullness and trusting your body again. Have you ever felt hungry even after eating a full meal? Or maybe you've eaten when you weren't really hungry, just bored, stressed, or out of habit. That's not just about self-control, that's about hormonal confusion. In this part, we'll explore the beautiful but often misunderstood dance between two of your body's most important appetite hormones, ghrelin and leptin. We'll uncover how they influence your cravings, your sense of fullness, and even your emotional relationship with food. And we'll look at how modern eating habits, especially the when and how we eat, can throw them off. Meet ghrelin and leptin. These two hormones are like the volume knobs on your hunger. Ghrelin is your hunger signal. It rises before meals and tells your brain, it's time to eat. Leptin is your fullness signal. It's produced by fat cells and tells your brain, we've had enough. When these two are in balance, you feel naturally hungry when it's time to eat and comfortably full when you've had enough. But when they're out of sync, you might feel hungry all the time or never truly satisfied. You may crave things you don't actually need and feel powerless to stop. This isn't weakness, it's biology out of rhythm. What throws ghrelin and leptin off balance? Several modern habits interfere with these natural signals. Eating too quickly, your brain needs 15 to 20 minutes to register fullness. Fast eating overrides leptin. Constant snacking, ghrelin never gets a chance to rise and fall naturally. Sleep deprivation. Poor sleep raises ghrelin and lowers leptin, making you hungrier and less satisfied. Ultra-processed foods. These often bypass natural satiety signals, encouraging overeating. Skipping meals or restricting calories too often. This leads to a rebound in ghrelin and makes hunger feel urgent and hard to manage. In short, when we disconnect from our body's natural rhythm, the signals become jumbled and so do our choices. How to reset your hunger cues. The good news. Your hunger hormones want to work with you, and just like insulin, they respond beautifully to structure and care. Try these gentle strategies. 1. Eat without distractions. Turn off screens, put down the phone, and be present with your plate. The more mindful the experience, the more clearly your body can hear leptin's fullness signal. 2. Slow down. Take at least 15 to 20 minutes to eat a full meal. Chew thoroughly, pause between bites. Give leptin time to rise. 3. Allow space between meals. Let ghrelin rise naturally. That wave of hunger is not something to fear, it's your body doing exactly what it's designed to do. 4. Focus on whole foods, meals with fiber, fat, and protein enhance satiety and keep ghrelin in check. Processed foods with added sugars and refined carbs tend to amplify hunger. 5. Sleep is a game changer. Aim for 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep per night. It's one of the most powerful tools to restore leptin-ghrelin balance. Real-life story, Ava's overeating spiral. Ava, a 29-year-old social media strategist, often skipped breakfast and grabbed lunch while working. Dinner was her main meal, and she often snacked late into the night. She wasn't eating huge amounts, but she always felt hungry. She also found it hard to stop eating once she started. She blamed her lack of control. When she began tracking her habits, she realized she rarely gave herself time to actually feel hungry or full. every meal was rushed, distracted, or driven by exhaustion, she made a few small shifts. Ate a real breakfast, closed her laptop at lunch, put her snacks on a plate and sat down to eat. After a few weeks, something shifted. She started feeling hunger. She began noticing when she was full. Her cravings faded and her trust in her body returned. This wasn't a willpower fix. It was hormonal recalibration through rhythm and awareness. The hunger-fullness reconnection, ghrelin and leptin aren't your enemies. They're built-in allies designed to help you survive and thrive. But in a fast-paced, screen-filled, always-on world, it's easy to drown out their messages. By slowing down, eating rhythmically, and creating space between meals, you're not just helping your digestion, you're restoring your ability to hear and trust your body again. In the next part, we'll explore how cortisol and melatonin shape your energy, mood, and sleep, and how your meals can support hormonal peace, not chaos. Part 4, Cortisol and Melatonin, Eating for Energy and Sleep. If insulin is the master switch and ghrelin and leptin are the appetite signals, then cortisol and melatonin are the timekeepers. They help your body decide when to wake, when to rest, and when to fuel or repair. When these two hormones are balanced, your day flows with energy and your nights bring restful sleep. When they're not, you might wake up groggy, feel wired at bedtime, or rely on caffeine and snacks to keep going. And guess what? When and how you eat can deeply affect both. Understanding cortisol, your morning spark and stress barometer. Cortisol is often labeled the stress hormone, but that's only part of the story. It's also your natural energy-releasing hormone, rising in the morning to help you feel alert, focused, and ready to move. Cortisol follows a daily rhythm, peaks within 30 to 60 minutes of waking, gradually declines throughout the day, should be lowest in the evening to allow melatonin to rise. This rhythm is what helps you feel awake during the day and ready for sleep at night. But when you eat erratically, skip meals, or live in chronic stress, cortisol stays elevated and throws everything off. Signs of cortisol imbalance: waking up tired, even after enough sleep. Afternoon crash around 2 p.m. Sugar or caffeine cravings, especially in the evening. Feeling tired but wired at night. Trouble falling asleep or staying asleep. When cortisol is high at the wrong time or low, when you need it you feel off. And many of our modern food habits unknowingly make it worse. The role of food in cortisol balance, food timing, food quality, and even food order can either support or disrupt cortisol. Skipping breakfast, your cortisol remains higher longer. Eating high-sugar snacks late at night? Cortisol can spike again, making sleep harder, relying on caffeine in place of food? Cortisol soars, then crash, taking your energy and mood with it. Here's how to support cortisol naturally. Eat breakfast within an hour of waking to help your body shift from cortisol-driven alertness to insulin-guided energy. Prioritize protein and healthy fat in the morning to provide stable energy without triggering blood sugar spikes. Avoid caffeine on an empty stomach. Have it with or after a meal. Wind down with lighter meals in the evening so cortisol can give way to melatonin. Melatonin, the hormone of rest, repair, and rhythm. Melatonin is your sleep hormone. It starts to rise in the evening, usually around 8 to 9 p.m. as the sun goes down and darkness signals your brain that it's time to rest. But melatonin isn't just about sleep. It also regulates nighttime metabolism, helps repair cellular damage, calms the nervous system, supports immune health. Unfortunately, melatonin is highly sensitive. It can be suppressed by light, stress, and food, especially late-night eating. Late-night eating disrupts melatonin. Here's what happens when you eat close to bedtime. Your body shifts from rest mode back into digestion mode. Blood sugar rises, insulin spikes. Cortisol may increase to support metabolism. Melatonin is delayed or reduced. The result: lighter sleep, more nighttime awakenings, and less deep repair. And over time, that disrupted sleep pattern can affect every other hormone in your body, including insulin, ghrelin, leptin, and cortisol itself. A real-life example, Thomas' tired mornings. Thomas, a 45-year-old marketing director, often worked late and ate dinner around 9:30 p.m. He usually had a glass of wine, some pasta or takeout, then collapsed into bed around midnight. He thought he was sleeping okay, but woke up groggy, needed coffee immediately, and hit an energy crash by mid-morning. When he started moving dinner earlier 7 p.m. and replaced heavy meals with protein and veggies, his mornings felt different. He woke up clearer, his sleep deepened. His late-night cravings began to fade. It wasn't a drastic overhaul. It was melatonin-friendly eating, and it worked. Simple ways to support cortisol and melatonin balance. 1. Respect the rise. Eat breakfast within 60 minutes of waking to ground cortisol and activate your metabolic rhythm. 2. Watch the lights at night. Dim overhead lights, avoid bright screens 1 to 2 hours before bed, or wear blue light blockers. 3. Time dinner right. Aim to finish eating 2 to 3 hours before sleep. Light, veggie-forward meals are ideal. 4. Wind down with intention. Incorporate calming evening rituals, gentle stretches, herbal tea, journaling, a warm bath. 5. Avoid emotional eating at night. Stressful eating patterns keep cortisol active and confuse your hunger hormones. Replace the habit with something nourishing emotionally like music, breathing, or connection. Final thought, honor the flow. Cortisol and melatonin are like the sunrise and sunset of your internal world. They guide your rhythms, your hunger, your focus, and your rest. When you learn to eat in support of that rhythm, you begin to feel more grounded during the day and more at peace at night. In the final part of this episode, we'll bring everything together, a gentle summary, and a guide to start realigning your hormones with your meals without overwhelm. Let's wrap this up together. Part 5, Bringing It All Together, a gentle reset for hormonal balance. We've just traveled through the intricate dance of your body's hormones: insulin, ghrelin, leptin, cortisol, and melatonin. And if you're feeling a little in awe of how interconnected everything is, you're not alone. The truth is, your body has always known how to find balance. It's not broken, it's not weak, it's just overwhelmed by a world that often pulls it out of rhythm. But the good news, you don't need to fix everything at once. You can start small, start gently, and trust that even the smallest shift, eating a little earlier, slowing down a bit more, honoring your hunger, sleeping deeper can ripple into powerful change. Let's revisit what we've learned. Insulin is your master switch. When balanced, it helps you burn fuel efficiently, stabilize energy, and reduce inflammation. Ghrelin and leptin are your hunger and fullness messengers. When they're in sync, you feel trust in your appetite and cravings fade away. Cortisol and melatonin guide your rhythm. Eating in harmony with their cycles gives you clearer mornings, steadier moods, and more restful sleep. And guess what ties it all together? The way you eat. Not just what, but how, when, and in what order. From information to integration, maybe right now you're thinking, this all makes sense, but how do I actually live it? The answer isn't in perfection, it's in curiosity. It's in observing how your body responds when you eat a nourishing breakfast, when you pause between bites, when you finish dinner just a little earlier. Hormonal balance doesn't happen from control, it comes from reconnection. Let food be your ally, let rhythm be your anchor. And if things feel off again because life happens, don't panic, you haven't failed. You've just wandered from the music can, you can find your way back.